Hey, stylists, welcome to another episode of the Stylistpreneur Podcast. I am your host, Damali Fils, and today we have with us a special guest. Her name is Amber Farooqui. She is the founder of Evolve Your Business, the Sisterhood Community. She's a business coach, a consultant, and a best-selling author. And she is on a mission to help others make an influence, impact, and income. Amber, come on in the room. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing really good. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. So, Amber, we actually met at a networking event. I love to get out and network. I feel like I met you prior to that event, but I cannot remember what event that was. And we got to talking, and you were telling me about all the amazing things you were doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have to be on the podcast. And you said yes. So, thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
Yeah, of course. I'm super excited to be here.
Of course. So, Amber, I would love to know all about your journey into entrepreneurship. Tell us a little bit more about the businesses that you have and all that good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So you did a great introduction of basically the basis of what I do. So I do
Gotcha.
business coaching, consulting, and as far as that portion of my business, what I do is I work with small entrepreneurs and businesses to help them basically build their personal brands so that way they can
Okay.
make that influence impact come, like you were mentioning. And I do that through, social media, content creation, organic marketing, learning
Okay.
how to create your message to get sales, all that type of stuff. So that is all related to the coaching consulting side of things. And then on the other side, I also have the sisterhood community, which is basically a community that I built of women leaders that come from all different areas and aspects of life to come together to unite and basically empower each other, grow together, learn together. And I have these annual conferences alongside the community as well to bring all these women from different areas together to be able to network and build that, connection and real community.
Okay, I love that. Now, I know prior to coaching and helping others, you were also into like fitness coaching, which I'm pretty sure is aligned with like the business coaching. And I know you had this pivotal moment in 2019, which I mean, COVID just really changed things for everybody. But can you just tell us about that transitioning and that point where you're just like, you know what? I can use what I have in my fitness business in order to help other people in their business.
Yeah, definitely. So I began in the fitness coaching industry and I mastered that craft at a really
Mhm.
young age. During that time, I was investing a ton of my energy, time, money into coaches, mentors, networking events, community, and just putting myself in the right rooms with the right people. And I
Mm.
was super blessed to meet the right people who really helped me level up my fitness coaching business at such a young age in such a fast amount of time. So in 2020, actually, like kind of during that COVID time, I realized that fitness wasn't something that I wanted to be a business. It just ended up happening due to social
Okay.
media and me sharing my journey and building my personal brand and all of that. But that wasn't my long term goal. Fitness was not my business that I really wanted. It just ended up
Okay.
happening. So I went with it and it was really successful. So I was like, why not at such a young age, reaching so much
Mhm.
success? I'm like, this is great. But internally, I just didn't feel that fulfilled. So
Okay.
during 2020, I actually ended up getting diagnosed with endometriosis and I had stage
Mm.
4. So I having to have a surgery. It was supposed to be 2 hours. It ended up being 8 hours, and I
Oh,
was in bed
wow.
rest for like 2 months. And it was basically like a very pivotal time for me, including COVID, but then also, the surgery and basically everything that I gained, like muscle and everything, was completely gone because of the surgery because I was,
Wow.
in bed rest through a huge basically change in my whole body and everything. So during that time, I decided that, okay, this is the perfect time for me to transition into what I've been wanting to do.
Mhm.
And so I transitioning into business coaching and I wrote a book during that time for that transition
Right.
actually and that hit bestseller and because of that I was able to be seen as kind of an authoritative figure in the business side of things, not just
Mhm.
a girl who lifts weights but actually a girl who has more of a brand than just fitness. So
Right.
then I wrote the book that basically ended up helping my transition into business coaching and from there I started working with only people in the fitness industry. So with
Mhm.
business coaching the beginning. I began with working with gyms, with studios, other coaches, other trainers, and I really mastered that. And then from there, it just kind of started growing and I started working with other service providers. But yeah.
Wow. No, that's amazing. And what I find even more amazing is that, we keep mentioning the fact that you're younger. So for any other young entrepreneurs, like where do you get that confidence? Where do you get that drive? Because I feel like a lot of younger people, sometimes they don't know what they want to do with their lives, or sometimes they're not willing, they don't have that confidence. Like what gives you that confidence to do the things that you've been able to do thus far?
Yeah, I think what gives me the confidence, honestly, faith is a huge, huge portion
Mm,
of my journey. That has been everything that's gotten me to where I am today. I always say the connections that I have with people, but also the connection that I have with God has helped me so,
mm-hmm,
so much in different places in my life. So that's huge, whether you believe in a religion or not. I think just having faith in general is so, so
mm-hmm,
important because give that confidence to be able to move forward and know that if this doesn't work, something else is going to end up, I'm going to learn something from this and I'm going to get something else out of it, whether it is what I wanted or not, but I will learn throughout the process and the journey. So that has helped me a ton. And also just having a great support system, whether it
mm-hmm,
is mentors, coaches, friendships, family, like whatever it is, definitely surround yourself with people who want you to win, who encourage
mm-hmm.
you, who support you, who can help you see your vision and things like that. That's huge.
Right. I definitely agree with that. And just personally, like I've moved around a lot for my husband's job, and I will say it's the faith that's kept me because, girl, it's hard moving around, right? But also being able to learn so many things on my journey. So I can definitely agree with you. Let's just dig a little bit deeper into your book. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? And just like some principles that people can learn from your book.
Yeah, so my book is called Finding Your Fit, A Guide to Living Your Best Life. And basically the
Hmm.
reason I wrote the book was because growing up, I thought being fit meant being physically fit. And I realized over time when I was going through the surgery and dealing with a lot of other things in my life that being fit isn't just about the physical appearance. It's about
Right.
these five dimensions that I mention in the book. So it's physical, of course, but then also your mental, emotional, spiritual, and social well being, and how to master all five of those to live a well rounded life.
Oh,
So
wow.
I wrote this when I was pretty young. I was 20 years old. So
Right.
obviously now rewrite this book, it would be a little bit different. But I think those five core dimensions are really, really important in order to live a fit life. So in the
Hmm.
book, basically, I cover my story in each of those areas of life and how I was able to like conquer going through struggles, different battles, and things like that. And then also how to live a fit life in those areas. So yeah, I mean, it's a very easy read. I personally am
Okay.
not like a big reader, so it's very easy. People can finish it in like a day if they really wanted to,
Okay.
or you can spend time on it. But the book helps you with just like kind of motivating you and also just like giving you tactical tools to start implementing in your life, whether you do
Okay.
take away all areas of your life or just even one of those areas you may need help in. So you can just read that chapter to learn a little bit more about
Mhm.
that specific area in your life. So
Okay.
yeah.
And where can we find the book?
The book is on Amazon, so you can find it there.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. I'll make sure to include that link so that everybody can get a copy of that book because it sounds like an amazing book. So, Amber, I know you're the founder of Evolve Your Life in the Sisterhood community. What would you say your mission is for those businesses, and what helps you to be able to achieve those goals?
Yeah. So, my mission with my business coaching side of things and the Evolve Your Life, which is my signature program that I created also years ago, but now I have multiple different programs that have kind of
Okay.
like evolved that portion as well. My mission for that is basically to help people reach freedom in their life. And that's kind of similar to the sisterhood community as well, allowing people to find basically resources that they may be lacking and help them get to a
Okay.
place that they need to reach financial freedom, even like freedom in other areas of their lives as well. So basically, these programs help them in that area. So
Okay.
the Evolve Your Life aspect of it is a 12-week program that I created. That was my first program ever that I created. So it's my signature program and kind of goes through the steps of how to grow on social media, how to build a personal brand, how to do organic marketing, how to start your first business idea or scale the
Okay.
business that you do currently have, how to get into sales and really be able to master that craft without being salesy. Kind of like the basics of that is what that program entails of. But besides that,
Okay.
I also do one-on-one coaching, consulting, like I mentioned as well with clients. So if a
Hmm.
client is ready to on a bigger investment and ready to really, really hone in on their business, then they can kind of come to me and work one-on-one with me and have me come
Okay.
in and teach them specifically geared towards their business. But if you're a starter, the program is kind of where you can do it at your own pace. And then as
Okay.
far as sister community goes, that started, honestly, I wanted it to be a faith-based community in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I realized when I put together my first basically great gathering, it wasn't even a conference at that point. It
Okay.
was mainly just my friends and a couple followers who got together in a small office space. And we were just talking about like faith. And I was trying to make that like the main purpose of this community, and to be able to bring different faiths together and talk about how they are so similar, but then also the differences, and just like learning more about different religion, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I realized doing that, people wanted to learn more about the business side of things from me and not so much about the faith side. So I'm
Gotcha.
like, okay, I'll take what people want to learn from me and kind of make that a thing, since this is what people are asking for. So then the
Mm-hmm.
following year, I started doing those conferences, and now this year we're going to be having our third conference. So the community is still very, very new. It's still growing.
Okay.
This year I'm able to finally start having like some sort of way to be able to be a part of the community besides the conferences. Because prior to this, it was really only the conferences, and then I had mastermind programs.
Okay.
But now I'm kind of and changing things up. So we might do like a monthly membership where everyone can kind of meet up, or we might do a quarterly type of thing. I'm still figuring all the insides and outs of that, but the conferences are
Okay.
the main way involved with the community. And then there's going to be a ton of other things coming up this, following year.
Okay. And I hate that I'll be out of town for your next conference. But will you remind me of those dates of the date?
Yeah, August 16 and 17.
Okay, yeah, I'll be out of town. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna miss it. But I'll definitely keep an eye out for it next year. So I know you also help a lot with like personal branding, organic marketing. How are you helping businesses with that?
Yeah. So basically, what I do if I am working on one-on-one with a client, I basically deep dive into where they're currently at in their business and where they want to be. And the
Mm-hmm.
biggest portion of that I emphasize on personal branding is because, for example, I'm a business coach, but there's a million other business coaches out there, but there's
Right.
only one me.
Okay.
So I like to emphasize, show people that if you use your personality and who you are to be able to draw in clients and bring in people who want to work with you and learn from you specifically,
Mm-hmm.
then that is how you reach a lot more success. Because, for example, at a lot of the things that I teach in business coaching, I'm sure, I mean, they're great, but I'm sure you could probably find a lot of it in other programs, or other coaches
Mm-hmm.
probably teach similar strategies and things like that. But the way that I come about it and the way that I go about my business is different than everyone else. So that's why
Right.
people want to work. They want to work with me because they relate to me, they like me, they trust me. And that's like all because of a personal brand that I've built up for so many
Mm-hmm.
years. What I try to do with these clients that I work with is building a personal brand and just mastering that craft and learning how to, master your messaging so you're reaching the right ideal audience. We go over, who it is that you're trying to target, what type of content you need to create to actually convert. It's one thing to be consistent and create content every day.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can really, but it's another to actually convert with that content that you're creating
Mm-hmm.
every single day. Try to teach
Right.
them, strategies that they need to take in order to do that. Sales is a whole nother thing. If you're trying to sell on
Right.
social media, having to hop on calls and sell people, it's totally different, or if you're trying to get them to a sales call and you have a sales
Mm-hmm.
process, that's different. So I kind of go through that strategy with them too. Do they just want to
Okay.
sell on social media and not have to hop on sales calls and be, do sales, or do they just
Right.
want to lead from social media to those sale calls and then learn how to sell on there, or hire a sales team, or whatever it is, right? So
Right.
there's many different approaches, very customizable when I do this,
Okay.
building your personal brand, learning on, business coaching, consulting, all that areas. So yeah.
Okay, I love that. Now with the clients that you have worked with, are there any like memorable stories or like success stories that you could share with us with those clients?
Yeah, that's a good question. Oh my gosh, there's so many that I love sharing. Honestly, every single client is just so like they motivate me to want to continue doing what I'm doing.
Okay.
But I think some of the ones that I really, really enjoyed were the clients who were actually younger than me, just because I am
Mm-hmm.
so young. So to
Right.
work with other students who were in college, and I was also at that position once in my life, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I was building when I was in college. So when I get these college students who are building businesses coming to me and asking me to help them with their personal brands, it definitely kind of
Mm-hmm.
hits home a little bit. I'm like, okay, I can really relate to like every area that you're in right now and every obstacle you're dealing with.
Right.
So there's definitely been some really good success stories there, like seeing students who, um, clients who are students and basically, they're battling like, okay, am I going to get a job after college ends and after I graduate, or am I going to
Right.
continue doing this? And we build their business while they're in college so that way once they graduate, they don't even have to be searching for a job anymore.
Exactly.
And that's just like fulfilling for me and also them. And they're like making such a difference in this world as well. So it's great. So those are like some of my favorite success stories, honestly.
Gotcha.
But all successes are like my favorite. So yeah.
Right. So I absolutely love that because I feel like you're changing the game because it's no longer where like, okay, you go to college, you try to get a job. Like now you're definitely teaching people how to live their best lives and how to live it on their own terms and not that you have to like fall in line or do what society is doing. So I love that for you. I love that for your clients, because there's so much that we can do and we can have our own personal brands and have a life outside of just working a 9 to 5. So I love that.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you keep saying that you're young, but girl, forget that, okay? Because you're doing your thing. Over your journey, what would you say are some lessons that you've learned while being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a good one. Some lessons I've learned, many
Hmm.
lessons. I've learned so many, but I
Right.
definitely think being patient is something that I've learned for
Mm.
sure. I know, like I mentioned, I am so young, but at the same time, like when you are young, you want to be able to reach success so fast sometimes. And I
Hmm.
think it's find yourself that, okay, like you need to, you're young, you have so much time ahead of you. And also like it takes time to get to where other people have been. And sometimes we look at people's, chapter 20s and we're just only on
Hmm.
our chapter one. We're going to reach
Exactly.
that tomorrow when it took them 10, 20 years to get there. And I've only been in business, 4 or 5 years. So it's like, why
Right.
am I even expecting that? Right. So it's obviously inspiring, but just learning to be patient has been huge. And also just like the faith portion of it has been the biggest thing,
Right.
honestly. Like, it's not exactly a lesson, but I think like when I come through failures in business, which is a part
Hmm.
of success, have to go through these failures, it teaches me that I just have to continue having faith and continue having intrinsic goals and meaning behind my goals in order to like move forward and
Hmm.
trusting that like what happen is going to happen. So that's
Right.
been like a big portion of it. I think patience, faith, and just like trusting and also
Hmm.
doing it best every single day is the most important thing. Like making sure you're doing tangible things every single day that are going to
Hmm.
help you get to those long-term goals. And like the biggest thing that I always tell my clients is I know we have these massive macro big goals, but to break
Hmm.
those down into goals and basically it'll be like to-do list every single day,
Right.
so like maybe I have to send out a couple emails or I have to create this amount of content or whatever, but because I have these little to-dos, it's going to help me get to my long-term goal in the
Hmm.
future. But I have to do these little tests to get there. I'm not just going to jump straight to my big goal. Like I
Right.
have to do all things. So enjoy those little things in order to get to your bigger goal.
Right. I love that because it definitely takes time. And I mean, you can't eat the whole pie in one sitting. Like it takes time, right? So now when we're thinking like the future, do you have any future plans for Evolve Your Life or the sisterhood community that you can share with us? Any new projects?
Yeah, so with the conference, honestly, since it is still so new with the community, the sisterhood
Mm-hmm.
community, we're having like annual conferences. We're changing it up every single year. This year, we're doing a red carpet charity gala instead of a
Nice.
PJ Pamper night. So that's super exciting. So things are changing with the conference. They just get bigger and better every single year. We're learning what
Nice.
people enjoy, what people want, what our audience is looking for, and we give it to them. And from there, like I mentioned, we are probably going to start doing like a membership with the sisterhood community. So
Okay.
that way, all the members who are attending the conference have a way to stay in connection besides
Right.
just the conference, their own, connections that they make, but another way, another platform. So whether that is monthly meetings or Zoom calls or other conferences throughout the year or workshops, I'm not positive yet. There is going to be another way to continue that community.
Okay.
And then also with the business coaching side of things, honestly, just growing that, working with more clients in different industries. I usually only have a certain amount of clients that I can take every quarter. So I am probably going to be hiring soon as far as like
Okay.
a team take on more clients since we are scaling so fast. So that's another portion. I'm just picky with who I want to hire and what I
Gotcha.
need in that person. But yeah, honestly, just like evolving and growing from there. There's a lot that is coming up, a lot more speaking that I'll be doing and diving into
Okay.
that portion. So I'm excited for that. More workshops coming up, mastermind programs, just a ton. Like there's a ton coming
Gotcha.
up.
Right. You sound busy, girl. So, Amber, there's one question I ask every guest, and that is, what is your superpower as an entrepreneur?
Ooh, that's a good question. What is my
Right.
superpower? I think my superpower is, oh my goodness, I feel like I have multiple superpowers, to
Right.
be honest. I think one of them would be that I am so like, this is, that probably can relate to a couple people. So I'm going to use this one
Okay.
that I have, I don't know if it's ADD or ADHD where I'm like constantly like on the go and I feel like
Right.
hyper and like everything and can't focus sometimes. But I think that is my superpower because it helps me be able to get so many things done. And I use
Mm-hmm.
it as an advantage rather than a disadvantage. Some people
Right.
will use, these like things that they have or mental problems or whatever it is as
Exactly.
disadvantage. Sometimes I like to flip the switch. It's all about perspective. So look at it as like, how can I use this and leverage it as a powerful tool, as a
Mm-hmm.
superpower, basically, in order to get somewhere that I want to be. So I use that as like, okay, even though my mind's all over the place sometimes, I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to get so many things done and like
Right.
multitask these things that maybe the normal individual who's super focused can't do.
Exactly.
So that's like one of them. And actually, my surgeon is the one who taught me that.
Okay.
I was dealing with a lot of anxiety at the time, and he told me to use my anxiety as a superpower because he
Mm.
actually had PhD, and he said the reason why he was the number one endometriosis surgeon in North America, and the reason why he was able to do that is because of his ADHD that had him like
Wow.
super and everything else happening in the surgery room,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like power because he was able to do the surgery but know everything else going on in the room as well, so that like nothing was going wrong. So I
Right.
kind of like I stole that from him.
I love that though, because like you said, another person would look at that as maybe a disadvantage or something that was holding you back. But you're like, no, I'm going to use this as an advantage and this is going to work for me. So I love that. I'm the same way, girl. I'm just like, okay, I have a million ideas, but let's just kind of do them. Like, I'm nowhere close to being a perfectionist because I'm like, I'd rather get things done and then go back and perfect it. Right. So,
Exactly.
Amber, thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to make sure that everyone is following you, that they get your book, that they're coming to your events. Where can we follow you?
Yeah, on all social media platforms, it's just Amber Farooqui. So my name, Instagram's my primary platform. So just follow me on there, and all my information's on there for everything else.
Oh, perfect. Amber, thank you so much. It's been a great time talking with you. I'm going to stay in contact. I'll probably see you at an event. So thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you so much for having me.